welcome back to another edition of the All Beef No Filler podcast. I'm your host, Pascal Paul, Director of Scouting with Prep Baseball Nebraska. We continue our trip around the state, talking to our high school coaches, various programs. We're joined today by the Beatrice Orangemen head coach, Zach Decker. Welcome, Coach.
Thank you for having me on here.
Thanks for being here. We're getting some good weather now after a little string of not so good weather, so it's nice to have some good momentum going into the season.
No kidding. We just can pray it stays for next week, as you always know that wind starts picking up here.
I know. It seems like it gets a little bit worse right as practice starts happening around this time of year, which hopefully we can break that trend this year.
I agree.
Coach, you've had a lot of success this year. Another state qualifier team last year, finished 18-8. How has your off season been? What have you noticed from the group coming back? Talk us a little bit about how that's been.
Yeah, so we're running into a good issue with the arms. We have a handful of kids that are sitting around that 83 spot with the good off speed, with the good slider that's kind of taking them out of the zone there. Pretty much our 1 through 4s changeups are probably the most disgusting things I've seen since I've been here. I've watched Tucker Timmerman throw. He had the 93 on the arm there, but he didn't really have that changeup develop. We now have a kid that he hit 89 about 2 weeks ago, name of Austin Baldwin. We're really excited about him. He has a slide piece that just jumps off on you. Curveball, that's pretty disgusting as well. And then his changeup just breaks you. Then you kind of go into Cale Cook, who threw for us in that first game at state last year. He also gave us the win to get to state. He's sitting right around 85, 86. He has that disgusting 12-6 breaker. I don't know how kids hit it. And then he also incorporated his slider this year as well, and he's developed that. So now he has 2 breaking pitches, and then on top of that changeup again is pretty disgusting. And then we kind of work into a couple other seniors here that have been more of our relief type guys in the past that are going to jump into those starting roles. And Ty Weichel, he's got a little bit different arm slot, not kind of like our Trevin Lang. I don't know if you remember him last year. He had the arm slot down here, little sidearm. He gave us a lot of good innings last year. So Ty, he kind of got hit around a little bit last year. Our defense wouldn't really pick up for him. And this year he now has about 3-4 miles an hour more on him. He's been working hard in the weight room to develop all that. He's got a lot of different stuff, and it's nothing ever stays flat with him. And then that kind of moves into Schmally, who was in our closing role last year. And he's the type of guy that he's not going to burn it by you, but he's going to spot up and be in those. He's going to be in pretty much every game that we can get him into for that. He's going to stay in any game with any competition, I believe. And then we got another up-and-coming guy who didn't throw for us much last year, but maturity-wise, he's really matured in the last really 6 months. He's been working with Johnny Oltman up there in Omaha. He was an ex-Beatrice guy. He does great work up there. And you could tell that he's been working with Owen and excited to see Owen as well. He's right around that 82, 83 mark, and he's got another changeup that kind of just falls off the table on you too. And he's confident to throw it whenever he wants. So pitchings-wise, yes, I'm feeling like we're right in the mix with probably the best in the Class B, I would say, at least top 5.
Coach, I'm going to ask you a little bit about a couple of those guys. First off, guy not on your team graduated. You touched on him, Tucker Timmerman, wore baseball off the face. Talk to a little bit about his reaction, his toughness after, is that something that you've always seen with him and expected out of him? Because I feel like that was the shot heard around the college baseball world, is just his reaction after, the smile on his face with his face all blown up and bloody and bruised. Is that just he is?
That's him. That's Tucker Timmerman. There's a reason why he's compared to in practices a lot. It's just his maturity, the way that he goes about everything. He's just flat out tough. He's a special guy. He had my first year when he was it would have been a senior my first year, I guess. Now time's flying. It was him versus Harrahill. Elk North came down to our place. And I get out a little bit later than the kids do when we go to, when we have home games, just because I had classes and I just want to make sure that everybody's good there. But I go down and all of a sudden I'm kind of looking around. I'm like, why are there a bunch of parents just standing around the cages? Parents already up in the bleachers, like setting up. And all of a sudden I kind of look down at their shirt and I go, oh, those are scouts. Yeah. There was about 6 or 7 scouts there, maybe even more. And they asked me, they said, hey, what's the Tucker guy like? I said, you just can't compare him to anything. That's just who Tucker is. And I think he just showcased what he is basically to the whole world there. So I did send him a text message that night. I try to kind of stay away from him because that they're getting all that attention.
Mm-hmm.
He knows that I'm there for him. But I did talk to him. I said, hey, I hope for the best for you. Hope you can get out there because, for you to do what you were doing to Vandy, what Nebraska was probably looking at you to do is to be one of the main closers for this year. So for him to get that little hiccup in that, it sucks to see that because he just worked so hard. The other story I like to tell is he would come in and he would throw with us in the winter time when we're just come in. We just have a little facility there. They get in there and they throw, and he was in a couple of his bullpens at that time. So me being the guy I am, I just sat in there and I stood in on his bullpen. And I'm not kidding you. Every single ball starts on the middle of that plate, and it's either on your hands or it's breaking off the mound or off the plate. So what he did this summer and what Nebraska has done with him in the last couple of years has just been tremendous, and it's been really fun to see. Hopefully he doesn't have to take that medical red shirt and he can kind of get back out there, which is kind of the sounding of it. But I think he just had surgery, or he's getting ready to have surgery here soon. And so he'll be recovering from that. So he'll be kind of out of commission for a little bit, but hopefully he can get back.
Well, we wish him nothing but the best. And there really isn't a lot of words you can describe if, a person take a fastball off the face at 106 and get up and be jacked up about it. That's a difficult thing to put into words. Yeah, he's got a bright future with Nebraska. He had obviously a dominant career with you guys, and he's going to do good things, big things for the Huskers. Get into some guys that are on the team. Cale Cook and Austin Baldwin, you mentioned. Austin, up to 89. Is that new for him? Is it something where he's like kind of gotten on the mound and kind of figured out, or has he always had this in the back pocket and it's something he's kind of bringing to the fold now?
So we had that Rev Soto, and his first year, I wanted to say he was right around that 82, 83 range, but he couldn't spot it. And he was the type of guy that he's kind of always played a position because he's really good at the position playing.
Yeah,
he hasn't thrown much for him.
He can swing it for sure.
Yeah, he can swing it. So the pitching wise, I think it's always been there for him, but now he's starting to kind of take more control of that and trying to hone in on that skill. Once you hit that, I want to say he was living around that 88, but he did top out at 89. I don't know if he got the 90 spot. I could probably look and see if he did, but he's spotting now, which is nice. That was kind of the issue that we were having last year. And then we got into a pickle at state tournament. You lose that first game. You kind of have to take some chances.
Yeah.
We went with a guy that gave us he gave us good innings. It's just, we couldn't field behind him. We're like, hey, we're going to go Baldwin's route this next really 4 innings. He comes in for, I think it was actually 6 innings. Came in, he gave up 1 hit on 4 Ks, 0 walks. And it's like, the kid's just a gamer. And I think that's what it comes down to. So you put him in that situation, he loves the bright lights, and that's what he's going to go do.
Ooh,
and then Cale, Cale the other one?
Yep.
Yeah, Cale, I think it was his sophomore year, he couldn't throw for us because he had a little bit of elbow issues. And that sophomore year would have been, I think that would have been Tucker's senior year. And we were really 1 arm short that year, I felt like, just to have a better season. But now he's hit the weight room. He's been in the weight room this whole time. He's been really positive on the mobility side of it and taking care of his body and getting his body in the right position. So he's right around 85 as well. Ball jumps off on his bat. We've been training the curveball is what he was struggling with. Now he loves it. Like, that's what he wants to see type thing. So that's exciting to see him to grow off of that.
Cale's always been a super physical kid in the box, super athletic, super physical. Yeah. So it'll be interesting to see. I don't think I've seen him much on the mound. Both of those guys really I don't see on the mound. So it'll be very interesting to see their growth and development out there on the ball. Coach, who throughout the offseason have you really are really excited about to make a decent impact for you guys on the varsity level this 2025 season?
So underclassmen would be our Baldwin. He's going to be a junior this year. So that would be our biggest one. A couple other ones that have been growing and getting really good, especially off the mound, would be an Isaac DeBoer. He didn't throw much for us last year, but he threw in the summer, and he threw a lot of good innings in the summer. So he's a guy that we're looking forward to. Kason Prawl is another one. He's going to be a sophomore this year. He got his first couple of bats at the state tournament last year, so he got his feet wet in that. But his maturity he was probably 5'9" last year, and he's up to 6'2", 6'3". So he's another big guy that we're looking forward to seeing. He's on the mound as well. But yeah, those are really the only two that jump out at me that have been doing a really, really good job for us.
As a team, you guys have always, I thought, been dirt balls, as a program, and just won a lot of games because, you worked hard and kind of, I don't want to say snuck up on people because you've always won a lot of games, but have had that mentality of we're coming in and we're a little bit of the underdog. Is that what this team in 2025 is going to need as well? Or what's going to be the secret sauce for the Orangemen this year to win a lot of games and accomplish those goals that they have in the 2025 season?
For this group, it's going to have to come from the buy-in on the offensive side. Years past, especially the year we won it, we didn't play much of the small ball aspect of it. We kind of just flew by the seat of our pants. If something got on, then we kind of adjust from that. But this year, offensively, we're kind of taking it a different route and training a lot of different things so that when we can get into games that are close at the end, we can execute what I call the little things that end up winning you games. So I think that's what has separated us from other people, is just our ability to come in and not really care who's on the mound, who's throwing against us. We're just going to go out there and compete. And if we can knock out their starting pitcher, we feel really, really confident in what we can do. So that's really kind of been our game plan in the past, especially the years that I assisted. It was just get that starter out, let them go into their bench, because we feel like our bench is deeper than anybody else's bench pitching wise.
I've been preaching it, and I think it's true across A, B, and C. But I think it's as even of year as you're going to get in the state. I don't think there's a baseball field that you'll be able to go to that isn't competitive baseball at a high level. And I know the Orangemen are going to be right in the thick of it. So we're excited to see and get this season rolling. I know practice gets started for you guys in a couple days, but good luck this year. Thank you for joining us on the All Beef No Filler podcast, and we'll be out there watching you, Coach.
Thank you.